and just being mindful of my legs more than anything. Yeah.
You continue making history for Philippines tennis. Are you aware of what that means back home?
Quick favor before we dive in. If you are loving this content, hit that subscribe button. Over 94% of viewers watch without subscribing. It costs nothing, but means everything to us. Already subscribed? Awesome! Thanks so much. Now back to the main event. AlexEala just did something that has the tennis world absolutely shook. While every armchair expert on tennis Twitter is screaming for her to hire some big-name super coach with 12 Grand Slam titles on their resume, Eala looked at all those offers, all that pressure, all that noise, and said no thanks. She is staying with Joan Bosch, the coach who has been by her side since she was 13 years old at the Rafa Nadal Academy. And you know what? That might just be the most mature, strategic, and downright brilliant decision she has ever made. Stick around, because we're about to break down why loyalty in tennis is not weakness, it is power, and why AlexEala just sent a message that the entire Women's Tennis Association needs to hear. Let us be real here. The tennis world has a coaching problem. Actually, scratch that. The tennis world has a coaching panic problem. You lose one match, maybe two, and suddenly everyone from your team to the media to random people on social media are telling you to fire your coach and hire someone new. It's like watching a reality show where contestants get voted off weekly, except this is supposed to be professional sports. We have normalized this idea that switching coaches every 6 months is somehow smart strategy. But here's the truth nobody wants to say out loud. It is not strategy, it is chaos disguised as ambition. Think about it. How many times have we seen top players on the Women's Tennis Association tour cycling through coaches like they're trying on shoes at a department store? One year they're working with a legend who won Wimbledon. The next year they're with some celebrity coach who's busy Instagramming courtside selfies instead of actually, coaching. And what happens? The player's ranking drops, their mental game falls apart, they start losing in the first round of tournaments they used to dominate. But instead of looking inward, instead of building something sustainable, they just hit the reset button again and hire coach number 7. It's exhausting to watch, and honestly, it's killing careers. Now enter AlexEala. She's 20 years old, ranked inside the top 150 in the world, climbing fast, and facing the biggest decision of her young career. The whispers started months ago. Alex needs a big-name coach. She's outgrown Bosch. If she wants to crack the top 50, she needs someone with Grand Slam experience. The media loved this narrative. It gave them something to write about. Fans on Twitter started throwing out names like they were fantasy football picks. What about Patrick Mouratoglou? Maybe she should call Brad Gilbert. How about someone from Serena's old team? The noise got louder and louder until it felt like the entire tennis world was telling this young woman that the person who helped build her career was not good enough anymore. And then AlexEala did the unthinkable in today's tennis culture. She said no. Not just a polite no, a definitive line in the sand, this is who I am kind of no. She looked at every fancy offer, every big name dangling in front of her, and chose loyalty. She chose Joan Bosch, the man who has been there since day one, the coach who saw potential in a 13-year-old Filipina girl with big dreams and turned her into a junior Grand Slam champion. The guy who doesn't have a million Instagram followers or a Netflix documentary, but who knows her game better than anyone on the planet. And you know what that decision represents? Maturity, confidence, and a level of strategic thinking that most players twice her age do not possess. Here's what people don't understand about the AlexEala and Joan Bosch partnership. This is not just some coach-player relationship that started last year when things were going well. This bond was forged in the fires of the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca, Spain. Eala was 13 years old when she moved halfway across the world, away from her family in the Philippines, to train at one of the most elite tennis academies on the planet. She was a kid, homesick, adjusting to a new culture, a new language, a new style of play, and Joan Bosch was the one who helped her navigate all of it. He was not just teaching her forehands and backhands, he was helping her survive, helping her adapt, helping her grow up. That kind of bond doesn't just happen. It's built over years of shared sacrifice, late-night strategy sessions, brutal training days in the Spanish heat, losses that hurt so bad you want to quit, and victories that make it all worth it. Bosch knows Eala's game inside and out because he helped create it. He understands her mental makeup because he's been there for every high and every low since she was a teenager. You can't just hire that kind of connection. You can't manufacture that kind of trust. And here's the thing, that trust is worth more than any celebrity coach's resume. But let's talk about the tactical side for a second, because this decision is not just emotional, it's strategic. Joan Bosch trained Eala in the Spanish clay court system. That means her game is built on the foundation of relentless defense, smart shot selection, elite movement, and the kind of mental toughness that comes from grinding out 3-hour matches on slow European clay. This is not flashy tennis, this is smart tennis, patient tennis, championship tennis, and it's exactly the style that has allowed Eala to compete with and beat players ranked way higher than her. She's taken out top 50 players, she's gone toe-to-toe with former top 20 players, and she's done it all with a game that was methodically built by Joan Bosch.
Now, imagine she ditches that system. Imagine she hires some big-name coach who wants to completely rebuild her game, turn her into a power player, change her technique, mess with the foundation that has gotten her this far. You know what happens next. She loses. Not just matches, she loses her identity. She loses confidence. She loses the very thing that makes her dangerous. We have seen this movie 100 times before on the tour. A young player shows promise with a solid foundation, gets pressured into hiring a celebrity coach, tries to become someone she is not, and ends up stuck at the same ranking 3 years later, wondering what went wrong. AlexEala looked at that trap and said, "Not today." And can we talk about the mental side of this for a second? Because tennis is 90% mental. You can have the best forehand in the world, but if your head is not right, you are losing in the first round. The stability that comes from working with the same coach for 7 years is invaluable. Eala does not have to second-guess herself. She does not have to wonder if her coach believes in her. She does not have to adjust to new systems, new voices, new philosophies every 6 months. She knows Bosch has her back. That allows her to step on the court with confidence. That allows her to take risks. That allows her to play free. And in a sport where mental breakdowns are as common as first-serve faults, that kind of stability is a weapon. But here's where it gets even better. This decision is not just about Eala. It is a statement to the entire Women's Tennis Association tour. It is a middle finger to the toxic coaching culture that has been destroying careers for years. Eala is saying that loyalty matters, that continuity matters, that trust matters more than headlines. And honestly, more players need to hear that message. Think about how many talented young players have flamed out because they got caught in the coaching carousel. They had potential, they had talent, but they never built a foundation because they were too busy chasing the next big name. Eala is doing the opposite. She is planting roots. She is building something sustainable. And that is how you have a career that lasts. That is how you reach your potential. Not by chasing fame or trying to copy what someone else did, but by staying true to what works for you, by trusting the people who have been with you from the beginning, by understanding that the grass is not always greener on the other side. Sometimes the grass is greener where you water it, and Eala is watering the relationship that has already proven it can grow champions. Now let us address the elephant in the room. The critics are going to say, but she needs someone with Grand Slam experience to take her to the next level. Okay, let's unpack that. First of all, Juan Bosch has been part of the Rafa Nadal Academy system for years. He has worked with elite players. He understands what it takes to compete at the highest level. But more importantly, coaching is not about resume. It is about fit. It is about understanding your player. It is about communication, trust, and the ability to adapt. A coach with 20 Grand Slam titles doesn't mean anything if they don't understand your game, your personality, your needs. Eala has that with Bosch, and she is smart enough to recognize it. And here's the other thing. Who says she can't reach the top with Bosch? Who decided that you need some celebrity coach to crack the top 50 or the top 20? That's just media narrative. That's just noise. Plenty of players have reached the top of the rankings with coaches nobody has ever heard of, because coaching success is not measured by the coach's name, it's measured by results. And Eala's results speak for themselves. She is climbing, she is competing, she is winning matches she has no business winning on paper. That's not luck, that's coaching, that's preparation, that's trust. So what does this decision tell us about AlexEala as a person? It tells us she is mature beyond her years. It tells us she is not swayed by outside pressure. It tells us she values relationships over hype. It tells us she understands that success in tennis is not just about talent. It's about stability, consistency, and building something real. At 20 years old, most players are still figuring out who they are. Eala already knows, and that self-awareness is going to take her further than any celebrity coach ever could. Here's the bottom line. AlexEala just made a decision that is going to define her career. She chose loyalty when the world told her to chase fame. She chose continuity when everyone else was screaming for change. She chose the person who has been with her since day one, who understands her game, who believes in her potential, who has sacrificed just as much as she has to get to this point. That's not weakness, that's strength, that's maturity, that's leadership, and it's exactly the kind of move that separates champions from everyone else. Because here's the truth. Tennis doesn't need more players chasing the next big thing. Tennis needs more players who understand that championships are built on foundations, not flash. That trust is earned over years, not bought with contracts. That loyalty is not old-fashioned, it's essential. AlexEala gets that. Juan Bosch gets that. And together, they're about to prove that the best partnerships are the ones that don't look good on paper. They're the ones that were built in the trenches, tested by adversity, and forged through shared belief. This is not just a coaching decision, this is a statement. And the rest of the tour better be paying attention, because AlexEala and Juan Bosch are just getting started.